In advance of the University Park Undergraduate Association's upcoming elections, today we are joined by the current VP of UPUA and a candidate for the UPUA presidency, Rasha Elwakil. Thank you again for joining us today. We are so excited to have you in studio with us. Thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Now, if you don't mind, we're going to dive a little bit into some of your policies. You've been the VP for UPUA for the fall 2024 to spring 2025 academic year, and this year has had a lot of changes, to say the least.
Yes.
What has this year sort of taught you, and how do you hope to take that with you to that potential UPUA presidency?
Yeah, so this year has really just taught me about being very transparent and honest with the student body. I think a lot of times when I talk to a lot of the students, my fellow Penn Staters, they always have different concerns that they bring up. And so really just taking in my expertise and my meetings and really being honest and open of what is going on around the university, I believe is truly important. And I think that's when you gain their different students trust in order to tell you, hey, I'm concerned about this. I want to see this change. And so really just hearing out my fellow peers and what they want to see throughout the university is really important. I've always wanted to have an approachableness to be approachable, and so just really being transparent and honest with the rest of the student body, I think really just helped me throughout this year. And so in the future, I just really hope to take that on and continue with that. That's why one of our pillars is administrative transparency, where we really just want to have students know what is going on within the university. And we find that really important because there's so much misinformation that can happen and that causes so much stress when students don't even know what's going on. So we want to do office hours where people could just come in and talk to us. We want to continue the blog post. So this year, what me and Zion ran on last year was doing UPUA blog posts to talk about things that were happening. And so although we only put out 2 this year, we really hope to continue that and make it a weekly thing that's happening. And then also just relaying information that we are hearing from administration. But we also want to put students in rooms with administration. So also doing maybe town halls with Penn State administration, because we truly think it's important that every student gets to talk to the people that are making high level decisions. And so it shouldn't just be people that are student leaders. And I also think everyone's a student leader in their own realm, but it shouldn't just be student leaders that get to have this one-on-one time. It should be any student that has a concern and wants to talk about things that they've heard and get clarity.
That's huge. That's amazing. I mean, as a student on campus, that's not only super impactful to hear, but also really exciting to hear that all these tangible changes that you guys are making. So we talked a little bit about UPUA, but their values are community, equity, and compassion. How do those values not only impact the work that you do, but the initiatives that you focus on?
Yeah. So the whole point of UPUA is to really better the Penn State community and ensure that every student is having the most equitable and accessible Penn State experience as possible. So one thing that we've really tried to do internally to create more community within UPUA and the rest of Penn State, because sometimes there is a bridge in that gap of our representatives and understanding what's going on throughout the university, we have continuously just send out events for representatives to attend so they can get a first-hand view and perspective of the events that we're co-sponsoring, the communities that we're representing. And so also this year we added 2 new legislative seats. The MENA caucus got a seat. Well, that was towards the end of spring last year, but this year has been the full year that they've been a part of the UPUA and the Disability Alliance too. And so just really getting more communities represented within the UPUA. But it has been such an amazing, such a great time to just see representatives just going to events. You don't even have to tell them twice this year. Before we used to have sort of a struggle of our representatives going to events and really showing up for the communities that they are representing. But this year, sometimes I don't even have to send an event and I see 10 UPUA representatives there and I'm just this is so amazing and awesome. And so also just on equity, ensuring that we are alleviating barriers for students and ensuring that they have the most accessible Penn State experience. So, one thing that me and Fletcher are running on is financial accessibility. And so ensuring that we are alleviating unfair costs, like such as the 19 credit surcharge.
Yes.
Why are students having to pay extra money just to complete a degree in a certain time frame, double major, get the most out of their Penn State experience? Like, we think that's unfair. Creating equity for students to take full advantage of Penn State without having to worry about, how am I going to pay for housing? How am I going to pay for food? So we have like a food surplus alert system that we want to implement. We're like, if an event has any extra food, students can just like go and like get the food, and it's just like, instead of like having to worry about how am I going to get food tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Because university is just so expensive. It's probably one of the most expensive things that someone will pay for throughout their entire life, besides a house or an apartment. But that just ensuring that students are getting the most out of their Penn State experience, but also compassion, ensuring that, we are showing up for students and we're showcasing that compassion, and that, students know that we truly care about them. So, being out in these communities, I think that they're all like intertwined. Those three pillars that we do have is just like that UPUA has. It's just so intertwined with each other, because how can you be equitable without showing compassion for different communities? But how can you know what communities what things different communities need if you're not showing up? And so yeah.
That was one beautiful explanation, and also, again, so incredible to hear the plans that you guys have to move forward with all of this. I was doing a little bit of research the other day, and I noticed a couple of things, some ADA parking passes, things like that, things that are in sort of a larger scale, maybe smaller, but still hugely impactful on everyday life. So you guys are doing incredible work.
Thank you.
With this run for presidency and potential re-election, what do you hope for Penn State within this coming year?
I really hope for more community. Since, starting out my freshman year, I felt like there was a lot of barriers in getting the Penn State community together. And so throughout the years, I've seen more and more community. However, I really want to advance that. So even just like going into like my other roles that I have with like Pan-Hellenic Council, I'm on the executive council, I'm the VP of DEI. Really, what I really wanted to do was like more cross-council collaborations, because I want like the Greek community to like come together. So tying that back into UPUA, how can UPUA help the Greek life community just like really come together? And so this year we've hosted so many events with like UPUA and Greek life. The Narcan training was huge. It was a huge hit. We had almost every single chapter show up. It was just really cool. So really just continuing that community building. I think I would really love to see that and have all these different, because Penn State is so diverse. There's so many identities. You have people coming from Texas, people from California, but people like one of my closest friends is from the UAE. And so just like having people like all come together and really just like share out their like diverse perspectives and identities, and really get that everyone learning about each other and all these just flourish of just community building. I really would love to see that.
That's incredible. And again, sounds like you guys are already putting a great step forwards for that. That's huge.
Thank you.
So sort of coming to a close here, last question. If you could leave Penn State with one recollection of you and your policies as they head to the polls this April 2nd, what would that be?
Ooh. I would really want them to know. So I'm like trying to decide.
Oh, you're good. It's hard to condense it all into one piece.
Just advancing conversations around different educational topics. I think throughout my time here, I've really tried to advance, the conversation regarding like DEI. So before UPUA never worked on accessibility issues. My freshman year and my sophomore year, I barely saw anything regarding like physical accessibility, digital, cognitive.
Really?
Yeah. And so when I was a chair last year for Chair of Justice and Equity, I really tried to introduce that conversation that DEI isn't just like 3 things that people typically think it is. DEI is so like widespread. And so just really caring about that. I created the Accessibility Task Force this year, which has been so fun just chairing it. Talking to different organizations about like how can we increase accessibility when it comes to events such as Moving On, Thon, recruitment. So just increasing like accessibility. One thing that me and Fletcher are trying to do is just better like. Another thing is like menstrual equity. And so putting in like period product dispensaries within residence halls, we would love to do that and ensure that these products are free for students because, I mean, this is my own belief, but like period products should be free in general. But just, ensuring that students can actually like have these products available to them and not have to like walk downtown to get them either because as students, we barely have time for ourselves. And so ensuring that they're accessible to all students, just increasing like the conversation regarding around DEI and just, continuing like environmental justice too.
Yes.
Fletcher is huge into sustainability. And so something that he's really been talking about is like environmental justice and like how does Penn State impact the local community? How do we ensure that all students are able how do we ensure that students know about different sustainability topics, including environmental justice? So really just having all these different conversations regarding like around DEI, I think is so important and crucial. And so during my time here, that's really what I've tried to do is increase that conversation regarding DEI. And I hope that, it continues to happen even after I graduate. So, yeah.
No, that's absolutely incredible. And again, such a relevant topic considering today.
Yeah.
We have run out of time, but thank you again so much for taking the time to sit here with us and explain a little bit more about your policies and your passions. It was really exciting for me to hear them. And we're really excited to have you on this ballot.
Thank you so much.
Of course. With UPUA elections coming this April 2nd, please make sure to log into vote.psu.edu. The polls are open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Your vote matters. Your vote gives you a choice in our student government and in what we prioritize. So please do your research, know your candidates, know their policies, and please go out and vote April 2nd. My name is Gabriella Wong, and this is Culture Central.